We are not alone. And we are loved exactly how we are. Whether you're having a messy day, a messy human day, or a perfectly wonderful, I'm great day, they love us. They celebrate us. They're thankful for us doing what we're doing and learning what we're learning and having this experience. And then so when this physical body passes away, we don't pass away, we just change form. We're no longer in the physical, we're now in the spiritual or the energetic realm. We're energy. Our consciousness is still there. Evidential mediumship, it's proof. It's the ability to show people that this is possible and that life exists beyond physical death. We don't die. We just change form.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. Today's guest is incredibly special to me. I'm sitting down with someone who has had an immense and profound impact on my spiritual path. She's a mentor, a teacher. Her work is rooted in compassion, clarity, integrity. She has a special way of teaching mediumship that makes the spirit world feel like they're just right there. Very accessible, deeply sacred. Her guidance helped me understand my own intuition, my connection with spirit, and my work as a developing medium. In our conversation today, I want to pick Christie's brain about her journey, her challenges, her breakthroughs, and all the things that have shaped her to become the woman and incredible mentor that she is today. So here she is, Christie May. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you, Halini. I'm humbled by that wonderful, gracious, glowing introduction. I don't know if I deserve all that, but thank you.
You do, especially in this work that makes us feel so vulnerable, so scared at times. It's just so many ups and downs, as you're developing and becoming aware of this part of yourself. So I just appreciate you always having been such a grounded energy in my life. So I'm excited to talk to you. I want to start maybe with a simple question about what has led you to come into mediumship in your own life.
Wow. That it seems like a simple question, but it's really complicated, but I'm going to try to simplify it for you as best I can. When I finally had the self-awareness that I was able to connect to people in spirit, when I finally said, okay, I think I can do this, I stepped into it and I found a practice group that was for mediums, and I walked in there, and I never intentionally gave a mediumship reading before. I was able to bring through somebody that one of the people in the group circle could validate. I got a name, I got how they passed, I got their personality, I was able to bring through a lot of different items, and with no training whatsoever. Now, that's not everybody's not able to, is going to be able to do that, and I'm not saying I'm something special, but what I learned from that, so I'm like, okay, so I am a medium. I needed that validation because I'm a skeptic, and I thought I was just a really good guesser. So after they're like, yeah, you're talking to someone in the spirit world, and to bring through proof, evidence, there's no way I could have known this about this person, right? So I was like, okay. And the more I learned, I realized I've been doing this all of my life. I just didn't know it. I didn't know I was communicating with other entities.
I love that. And I'm sure it was like a surprise in a sense when that happens, right? That you're like, oh, I'm actually talking to a living.
I'm not just making all this stuff up in my head.
exactly, like a being is communicating with
Yeah,
me.
right.
Is that what you find fascinating and important about evidential mediumship? Can you talk a little bit about the difference and what is evidential mediumship and why you actually enjoy it being evidential?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, evidential mediumship. It's proof. It's the ability to show people that this is possible and that life exists beyond physical death. We don't die. We just change form. And and the science part of that is, when you think about it, we're energy, right? Because this isn't really who we are. This is just what we use to live in this world. And then so when this physical body passes away, we don't pass away. We just change form. We're no longer in the physical. We're now in the spiritual or the energetic realm. We're energy. Our consciousness is still there. And so being able to have that information validated and have it be, yes, that was, my mother or whoever I was bringing through. That's exactly what they would say. That's exactly how they look. That's exactly. Now, we can talk more about exact, it's never going to be exact, but you can't find this information by Googling someone. You can't find the information, I can't find out about, your past loved ones, Alini, by Googling you or looking at your Facebook. There's no way I wouldn't be able to. So it was very important to me, because all my life people thought I was, I was making things up. You know what I mean? That had a very active imagination. I was always accused of that. And I was accused of a lot of other, being crazy. I think schizophrenia and borderline personality disorder and all kinds of different diagnoses were thrown at me. And to realize that, no, those aren't mental illnesses. Those are actual beings connecting to me. And so it's important that I can prove it. And I had to prove it to myself first. Does that make sense? To answer your question?
Yes, it does, 100%. Because otherwise, for those who are developing mediumship, it feels very much like your own imagination. At times, when information's coming through, they're showing you images, they're showing you feelings, and a part of you questions like, is this really coming from their loved one, or am I? And so being able to also get to a point where you can differentiate those two things is part of what every developing medium goes through at some point. Being able to feel into the information. But my other question was, before you were able to be like, okay, no, I know for sure that I'm connecting. What kind of life were you leading, and how has mediumship changed
Oh my gosh.
your worldview, your life? Give me a little bit more on that.
Well, how has it changed? I mean, I went from kind of just floundering around, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, trying to, I always felt empty. I always felt there was something missing, right? And I wasn't sure about a higher, something. I was agnostic. I didn't know, is there something more than this? And then learning mediumship and getting to know my spirit guides, getting to know people, loved ones in spirit, getting to know all of that, and realizing that you don't die. So there is something bigger than what we are. What we see is so small compared to what it is, right? What that state of consciousness is. So I lead a life that is fulfilled and happy and peaceful. And I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It's just something that I never thought I could be this okay in life, because before nothing was okay. Nothing made sense. It was so difficult. Everything was hard. Now everything's very easy.
So that leads me to my next question. What do you think was the thing that made it feel different? What was the understanding that you had after being able to connect with spirit that made perhaps you didn't have before then?
Right. Good question. So what it is I realize that these psychic senses or energetic senses are very real, and they're a part of us. They're a part of everybody. Okay, anybody and every can do this. Okay, so but before, you grow up learning that, oh, that's not real. You're, like you were talking about, your imagination. They're told that's just pretend, that's not real. What's going on in your head, those type of things. They teach you that's not real. And I was just, it didn't make sense to me. What do you mean? What? But no, I'm like, what do you mean? So you grow up thinking there's something wrong with you, and you grow up like a part of you. Well, you're different and you're alone, right? So you kind of try to push that back because it's wrong or it's bad or it's, you're crazy. So then realizing that, oh, okay, these are psychic senses, right? These are real. And I know they're real because I'm able to connect to someone's loved one and go, okay, they're showing me that they loved, I don't know, I can't think of anything right now off the top of my head, but you know what I mean? They, what was it? What can I think of that was funny?
Can you share that story of the Krusty the Clown?
Krusty the Clown, yeah. Okay, so I don't know if everybody knows who Krusty the Clown is, but it comes from that old cartoon TV show, The Simpsons. And Krusty the Clown is this old clown, funny looking cartoon kind of character. And so I had a widower that wanted to connect with her husband that had passed. And I started, I took my breaths, I started kind of having it come in, and I usually see things or feel things. First thing I see in my head is this picture of Krusty the Clown. And I'm like, oh my Lord, why am I seeing Krusty the Clown, right? I'm even questioning that this is even evidence. It just, but that's the thing you got to understand. If it just pops in your head out of nowhere, it's definitely spirit. But at the time, I was pretty new to doing professional readings at the time. So I started going, well, would you understand? I started kind of describing a jokester kind of personality. And she goes, well, kind of, but, not really. And I said, well, do you understand? And I started describing, because Krusty the Clown is bald and has hair on the sides of his head and this, this big red nose. So I said, well, was he balding and had kind of a big red nose? And she's like, no, and she's looking at me like I'm nuts. What are you talking about, lady? And so I'm like, so I tried a couple other things and nothing was working. So I finally just went, all right, do you know that TV show, The Simpsons? She's like, yeah. And she's looking at me like, what does this have to do with my husband, right? And I said, well, for some reason, I'm seeing a picture of Krusty the Clown. And she goes, oh, that was my husband's icon for his streaming network service. He was Krusty the Clown. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So that's where you learn, if you get something, you got to give it, because that was definitely him showing me Krusty the Clown, so she would know that it's him.
My gosh, I love that so much. And obviously, as an outsider, you would have no idea of that. Like, how could you possibly know his Netflix account logo? But he was like, tell her that, you know? And I think that's part too of as you were developing and getting into mediumship, learning how to, and you've helped me with this, like, don't interpret the evidence, just give them the evidence, and then you can, continue
Right.
to understand what's going on there. So that has been very helpful, which I think leads me to my next question, which is how important it is for someone who is learning how to, how to develop their own mediumship to have like training. And what do you want to say about that? And how has that helped you um, develop yourself?
Right. That there's a couple of hurdles. Okay, so I told you about the first time I intentionally did a mediumship reading. Well, it I was spot on, right? But then because I didn't care whether I got it right or wrong. I didn't have any fear. I was just like, okay, let's see if I can do this. And I just gave what I got, right? But then I'm like, okay, so I really am doing this. But now I'm going to go learn. So I started taking a mechanics class. I got a mentor. I took some class. Took whatever classes I could when I could that were reasonably priced, because sometimes they can be pretty expensive. Read books, went to practice circles. So here's the thing. If you are, when you come into this and you're brand new and you're doing really well at first, some people are going to do this. But then when you start learning how it works, that's when you start screwing up, because you're thinking about what's happening. You've heard of like, what's that? When beginner's luck, right? This is a completely perfect example of beginner's luck. And the reason why beginners have so much luck is because they don't care whether they get it right. They don't care whether they win their game or not. They're just trying to figure out if they know how to play the game, right? So
I remember my first day bowling. I did the exact. I'm just like, I have no idea. I'm just gonna throw this ball.
and you're throwing strikes.
It's like a strike. I'm like, okay, this is cool.
So then you're like, okay, I want to develop this. I want to do more. I want to be able to do this, and give people readings and tell people that spirit really is, your loved ones are still with you. So you start to learn, okay, this is what's really happening behind the scenes. And the reason why you need to learn that is because if you're going to do professional readings, if you're going to do this work, sometimes it's more difficult than others. But you have to have a basis of understanding, because sometimes it's not going to just come to you. You have to understand how to get yourself in the right frame of mind, right? How to relax, and also how to let go of the outcome. So now we're going to learn, okay, this is the mechanics of how it works. All right, now this is what, we want evidence. We want to bring in a memory. We want to start to learn what, spirit is trying to say, and how to connect with spirit, how to blend with spirit. So now we're trying, right? Now we're going, okay, I have to be in this brain. I have to be in this mode. I have to connect. I have to blend. Okay, I'm going to give the information. Oh gosh, I hope I'm right. Right? So here you are going, oh, okay, I'm ready. And you're not, and you flop. Right? You start thinking about the information. You start trying to put it together. You start making a story up. And that's when it stops working. So, but that's okay. You have to learn. And so there's a learning curve, right? You're going, okay, I understand all that. Okay, now you have to get over that hump and begin to learn how to flow, to let go of making sure you get it right, to let go of the fact that this is about you and your performance, because it's not. We have to be able to put our logic and our own ego, okay, to the side so that we can be the tool. We're a radio for spirit to communicate to their loved ones here still on earth. And when we realize that we're a tool, it's not about us, it's not about my performance, it's about me getting out of the way so spirit can communicate. Easier said than done, and it takes practice and patience and lots of understanding. Okay, does that make sense?
1000%. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because as a developing medium, I have I can personally attest, I can personally attest to a lot of these hurdles, as you call them. And I really appreciate you bringing them forward. Can you speak a little bit about, you mentioned it, but I wonder if you can give me a little bit more um, detail on the ego and how, because we just had this
Sure.
conversation. So,
Yeah.
and how does it impact the your readings, the way that you're flowing with spirit?
Your ability to get in the flow state and allow spirit to
Yes,
speak, right? Okay.
exactly.
All
Can
right.
you
So
give me a little more on that?
absolutely. So the ego, and we're not talking about egotistical, right? We're not talking about that I'm such a great medium, I'm so good at this. There is that, and that's going to get in your way. But what I'm talking about is the ego. And we all have ego. We need ego, right? Ego keeps us safe. Ego, we're alive, right? So we're in this physical body. The ego is there to protect us. Okay? So the ego's like, okay, this is unfamiliar territory. Step back, we get nervous. We're in our head. We're thinking up all these scenarios. We try to control outcomes. The ego tries to control outcomes. The ego tries to keep us safe. So they're out front going, nope, don't go that way. You don't know what's behind that door. Nope, don't go that way. So you're like, oh my God, I don't know. I'm scared. I don't know. What if I mess up? What if people think I'm weird? What if people think I'm crazy? What if I hurt somebody's feelings? Those type of things. That's ego. That's our ego speaking and leading us. So, and it gets in the way because it makes us, kind of anxious, scared, nervous, right? We're like, oh, we don't want to mess up. We want to do a good job, right? Now, that means you're a good person, and that's good, right? That's a good thing. But in order to communicate with spirit, we have to ask ego to sit beside us. Thank it for keeping us safe. And when we do that and we step into this more calm state, okay, relaxed, and that's why meditation is so important, right? Grounding and meditating and relaxing our breath and becoming aware of those energetic senses. Okay, if your nervous system is going, oh my gosh, right, you're not gonna be able to get that information from spirit because it's gonna be hitting this nervousness. When we're calm and relaxed and allowing, because That's the only way to get a pure, to be a pure channel. We do the best that we can, right? Everybody still has ego. It's going to happen. But the more we practice, and the better we eat, when we're good to ourselves, when we stop beating ourselves up for making a mistake, it's much easier to be in the flow state. And come to think, I'm going to go a little bit further here, Alini, if you don't mind. And it's also about doing some inner work, right? You were going to talk about that? Okay. And it's really heal the medium, heal the mediumship. The more you're healed and in tune with your higher self, the better that your mediumship is going to go. It's going to flow much easier.
I love that you brought that up, because that was gonna be my follow-up question. Like
I'm psychic, Alina.
Yeah, it's like you're reading my mind. Christy, stop it. Because my next question was going to be how important it is for anyone who's interested in really getting deep into mediumship, not just like, tiptoeing, but really getting profound into it. How important it is for them to do the inner healing, to do the spiritual work within yourself. So yeah. I'm so glad that you brought that forward. Can you, and what did that look like for you?
Okay.
For example.
Well, okay. That's a big one too. Now, healing happens, all your life. Anyway, my life had changed dramatically. And from being in executive management and the corporate world and, all the things you're told that makes you a successful person, I was empty. Anyway, a lot of different things happened. My health went down the tubes, and I lost everything. And I thought, my life's over. I'm nothing. And then I went to counseling, did all kinds of things to make myself better and to crawl out of this deep, dark hole I was in. And I started looking into, why am I this way? Why am I so sensitive? Why do people think I'm crazy? Why do I hear voices? Why do I see spirit? Why? What's going on inside of me? So I did a lot of my own research into this, and it kept leading me to, okay, I'm an empath. Most people who do this work are empathic. There's a lot to that. So I had to learn how to use to understand how being an empath impacted who I was. Because being an empath, I was absorbing everybody else's emotional and physical energy. And it would cause me, that's why I was called a hypochondriac. Because if somebody around me had a thing, it would happen to me. And I'm like, I didn't understand. I wasn't making it up. It was very frustrating. So I went, okay. So I had to learn how to observe that energy rather than absorb it. And so I went through training on how to do Reiki energy healing, because I'd started learning about energy work. Okay. I understood energy work, and was starting on working on my own inner healing, my own self-esteem, my own self-worth, things that I had to deal with when I was younger. And so that inner healing work, or some people go through what's called shadow work. I think you talked about that with Cass. She's awesome. So learning that this is not who we are. This is not my true self, this physical body, this physical reality. This isn't who I truly am. This is my opportunity to have experiences in this world. My true self is a divine being that resides in spirit as well as inside me. And I learned that I am loved unconditionally. I love myself unconditionally. And here's the thing, Alini, a lot of people say, well, I like who I am. I like myself. No, this is profound, unconditional love for yourself. A lot of people, and even me before, back in the day, I thought in order to feel whole, I needed somebody to love me. I never had that, except for my grandma. We can talk about that at a different time. I didn't know what unconditional love was. So when I learned truly what unconditional love is, which is people can't unconditionally love each other. We just can't because of the ego, right? Only spirit can love us unconditionally. They don't care what choices we make. They don't care. They love us. We're here for the experience. So, you know, how we're worried about, oh, what if I make the wrong choice? Oh, I just wasted 10 years of my life being married to this horrible man, or you know, things like that. Nothing is wasted. It's not a waste of time. It's an experience that we're here to just learn the lesson, to grow from it. So when we start to realize that all the crap that I went through in my life, and other people too, you know, all of that made me who I am today. And you know what? That's cool because I get to do this work that I do, Alini. I get to teach people how to connect to spirit. I get to connect to spirit. You know what I'm saying? And so understanding that, forgiving your past and loving yourself unconditionally is the key.
Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that you have that perspective, because I'll speak for myself, but when I started on this journey of like figuring out like that we have this ability and it's available to all of us to connect with spirit. It's not like the thing that a lot of mediums out there say, which is like it's only for a select few. If you are born in the right family line, if your grandma and your mom and so was a psychic, then there you go, there you are. It's like spirit wants all of us to have this ability to know that we have that connection that never ceases, because we are all spirit, right? We are all spirit.
Absolutely.
So I love that so much. And then the unconditional love for the self, you know, even as you go into mediumship, knowing like I have good intentions, I want to connect with spirit because it brings healing, it brings so much understanding into the world. We do feel the unconditional love when we're, you know, communicating with spirit. And then we put it in our heads that we have to be perfect. I have to do this right for spirit. And then we start hammering ourselves with techniques and classes and this and that, which is good because it gives us a moment to practice. But then it can also go the other way where you just feel like you're just not good enough, you know, you compare yourself to others. There's always room for growth, right? There's never an end to development. So there's always this feeling, am I ever going to feel ready? So here's my question to you. When did you feel like, okay, now I can do this. Now I can call myself a medium.
Oh my goodness. It changes day by day, Alini. Some days I go in and I'm like, I'm a medium. And some days I'm like, I'm a rat. I'm a mess. But you know, when I am a mess, I celebrate. I can be a mess. I'm human. I'm supposed to be a mess. And it's okay. I talk to myself a lot.
Oh my gosh. Okay, good. Because I'm not alone.
Yeah, no, you're not. No, none of us are alone. And that's another key point, Alini, is we're not alone. And a lot of people who are empaths, who are sensitive, feel very, very alone, right? Because most of the world is going to look at them like they're nuts, like they're crazy. They're going to even second guess themselves. We are not alone. And we are loved exactly how we are. Whether you're having a messy day, a messy human day, or a perfectly wonderful, I'm great day, they love us. They celebrate us. They're thankful for us doing what we're doing and learning what we're learning and having this experience.
I swear, like, I wish someone had told me that before, you know. A part of me is like, what? Because then it's like this thing when we live in a society that programs you to believe that you can only feel good about yourself when you achieve this much, or when you look like this, or when you do this, or when you get your gold medal, or when you advance to this career level or path, and you forego giving yourself the love until you get those things, until you get the stamp from whoever. It doesn't even matter, like the stamp. Okay, you are worthy of love now, Christy.
Right,
We
exactly.
wait for that. We wait for that. And to be able to understand that for us to communicate and to have this beautiful experience with spirit, we don't need to prove ourselves. We only need to be, and to open ourselves, to open our hearts, to open to the love, like you said before. So can you shed some light first? Again, I feel like, what would be the thing that you would have told your beginner self if you could go back? What would be that thing?
Well, I do go back. I talk to my younger self all the time. Um, and that's part of shadow work too, is going back and loving that younger Christy who was a complete mess and letting her know that she's loved. I'm thankful for her. But, here's the thing, Alini, yeah, I wish I knew, I wish I knew. Wish somebody told me. Yes, but however, let me flip this on you a little bit, Alini. When I tell people you need to love yourself unconditionally, spirit loves you, you're perfect the way you are, they look at me like, huh? Are you crazy? Or they say, I do love myself. You know what I'm saying? So you have to go through it. You have to experience it, right? So I go back to my younger self, my new medium self, and say, good job for just stepping out there against all of those things that made you scared to do it. Oh, I dealt with imposter syndrome. But I got through it. And I'm so proud of myself. I tell her, I'm so proud of you. I say thank you, because I would not be right here if she hadn't done what she's doing. So yes, it's one thing to tell people, and I do, and in my work, I do a lot of healing work for people. And I'm starting to specialize in empathic people and having them understand these sensitivities, whether they're going to be a medium or not. I think on a day-to-day basis, empaths need to understand how to deal with this, because it can be overwhelming. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry, Alini. So yeah, there's a difference between being told this and truly understanding it.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because there's also this thing of like, when you go through the mud, right? You
Yep.
now have the experience of like, that was really scary. I was totally out of my comfort zone, because it's not easy sitting in
And it
front
was
of
kind of
someone.
messy too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
messy and
Get a
fumble.
little, get some skinned knees along the way, don't ya?
Yeah, it's not always pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. And sometimes you get the chills, you get the full body thing, and the love is there, and the tears come, and then sometimes you're just like, what the I don't know what's going on here, guys. But then you get through it and you're better off for it. Like you said, like some of this is also the 10,000 hours thing, right? For any given profession, whether you have a degree or not, you still have to go through the 10,000 hours of putting yourself out there in the line, and you know, because there's only so much you can learn from reading books.
You can sit back and watch the movie, and you can feel for the characters in the movie. But until you've done it yourself, until you have that experience yourself, you are truly not going to grow. So the books, there's a lot of really good books out there about self-healing and all of this. And and it's good to learn and to hear it, to see it, to go, okay. And then, but maybe you don't understand it. But if you're told about it, there's a seed that's planted. Okay. And that's where I'm like, because at first I was like, what's the point of me telling these people they need to love themselves and they'll be okay? And they go, you're crazy. But then a year later, they come back and go, oh my God, Christie, you were right. So bringing them to that awareness. Now, awareness is big. Awareness is everything. They were able to go, oh, that's what's happening to me. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I went through this hell, but now I'm working on I'm okay. That's what Christie was trying to tell me. So it's okay if I tell people, it's okay to tell people, even if they don't get it. It's a seed that's planted. And that's what I do. I plant seeds.
And you do it so well.
I hope so.
Yes, you do. The other thing is that when I got into mediumship, the other thing that I heard a lot too is that sometimes the people that feel the most, that go through the most, are the people that sometimes are better equipped to connect, in a sense, because it's like, when you break yourself open, you're just like a raw mess, and you're just like, ugh. Can you speak a little bit, because you did say that in your journey you went through like a dark night of the soul at one point, correct? Like,
yeah, I think I went through a dark night of the soul for 5 years, but anyway.
Yeah. So speak on that a little bit, because I think a lot of people like run, they don't see, maybe they're going through that right now, Christie, as they're listening to this.
Yeah.
So can you shed just a little bit of light for someone who is going through that exact thing?
Yeah, that, here's you've heard that saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. That is absolutely true. So if you're in this deep, dark place, and don't compare yourself, your trauma, your issues with anybody else's, because it's yours and it's real. Okay. Don't excuse it. Well, my trauma isn't as bad as theirs. No. It's your trauma. Recognize where you're at. Have some grace for yourself. Give yourself some grace. If you're down in the dumps and you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm just never going to be anything. I'm never going to amount to anything. I'm worthless. I have, I'm not worthy of love. All those thoughts that are going on in your head, if you're there, if you're in that dark place, please just remember this. You're going to be okay. The sun will come up tomorrow. and you have an opportunity to start over again when you're ready. Maybe right now you need to be in that dark place. Just don't allow yourself to go to the edge of that dark place, if you know what I mean. It's not worth it. Because who you're going to become once you see the light at the end of that tunnel, once you realize that you can climb out of that deep dark hole all by yourself, and no, nobody's going to help you. But that's okay, because you're going to see just how strong you are. And you're going to climb out of that hole and you're going to go, look at me. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I am worthy of love. I don't need to be loved by everybody else. I only need to love me and know that I'm a good person. Yep, I make mistakes, but it's okay. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get through that. Just know that you're going to get through it, and it's going to be better. You're going to be better, and that doesn't mean that's the end of this of the line. There's going to be another trip along the way, but you're going to be able to deal with that trip. Yep, you're going to fall down, skin your knees, but you're not going to fall down that deep dark hole again, because you're going to remember, now I've been there, don't need to go there. Okay, I'm just going to need to heal my knees a little bit, go easy on myself, recover from that. Okay, now I've learned that lesson. Next, and with each lesson we learn, with each mistake or fall or whatever it is, we're getting that much better. So just keep going. It's only going to get better, really. Does that help? Is that what you were looking for, Lena?
No, that's amazing. Especially, when you're there, it feels so alone, like you're so alone.
Yeah.
Like there's no way out. Like no one can see you, feel you, hear you. And the beautiful thing about connecting with spirit and exploring that side of us is that it makes you realize that you are not alone. Because anytime spirit comes through, they're like, tell her this, I'm watching her do that. We got her back. Let's go.
I was there. I watched you
aware.
do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's why mediumship is so healing in that way.
Yeah.
Spirit communication of any kind.
Yes.
With your guides, with your angels, with your loved ones.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit on the on how you communicate with your guides, for example? Can you give the listeners a little bit of insight on any given day? Do you ask for guidance? How does it work for you?
Oh, I talk to them all the time. It's just a conversation in my head, really. I'm just like, all right, I don't say it out. Sometimes I speak to them out loud. I'm like, okay, guys, what am I supposed to do? But I also, one of the things that I've learned to do was when I go to bed at night and I'm getting ready to go to sleep and something's going on that I kind of need some clarity on, or I need some help with, I go, okay, to my spirit guys, I'm like, all right, please, give me clarity on this as I sleep. And sometimes I'll have a dream, and that dream will be prolific. Sometimes I won't remember my dream, but something happens the next day that kind of goes, oh, so that's how I communicate with my spirit guides. Just any way that feels right for you, have a conversation in your head. They don't always answer, you say, okay, how do I deal with this? You're not going to get the answer. Well, you're going to do A and then B. That's not the answer you're going to get. Right? You're going to get answers in the way of synchronicities, right? You're going to get 444 on the clock. or 1111, right? You're going to get a white feather is just going to show up somewhere that really it shouldn't be. Or the bluebird. My father flew right in front of me. Remember I told you about
Oh,
that?
can you share the story about the one
Sure.
time you were really nervous
Yeah.
about a reading, right? You were going to give a reading.
Well,
Yes, please share.
I was going to go do a presentation at a wellness weekend retreat at a retreat center. And it was about an hour and a half drive. And so on the drive up there, for some reason, I was just super nervous. I was like, oh, I got to drive for an hour and a half to somewhere I don't know where I'm going. So I need to calm down so I can drive, right? And my my father told me that the bluebird was going to be what showed up to know it was him. And I'm like, yeah, okay. There's not many bluebirds out here. But anyway, I'm driving down the road. I'm not a mile from my house. I'm going, okay, Dad, please just help me with this, help me. I'm so, so nervous. And then all of a sudden, right in front of me, I kid you not, a bluebird. And it almost like happened in slow motion. I was like just watching it go in front of me. And I'm like, like, and this calmness really fell over me. And I went, oh, thank you, Dad. So it's being aware of the signs and the synchronicities that is going to be brought to you to get your answers.
I
Right?
love it. Yeah. And it's just about you being attentive to them too, because spirit
Right.
is
The awareness.
always wanting us to know that they're there.
Yeah.
But sometimes the doubt comes in. They're like, oh, it's just a bluebird. You kind of brush it off. But it's like there's a
Yeah.
meaning there if you
Yeah.
allow the meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
I love it. Can you okay, after all these years of communicating with spirit, I know there's has to be a main theme that comes to mind when they come through for their loved one here. What do you feel, or what have you found to be some of those themes that come through in a reading?
Well, always, they're there. They're with you. They see you, they feel you, they're helping you, they are with you 100%. Don't even doubt it. They're right there. They love you unconditionally. And another one is they've healed. They've gone through healing. They are happy. They feel no pain. Everything's okay. People want to know that they're okay. They also want reassurance that they did the right thing for them, right? Also, there's that fear of people who have taken responsibility for their own passing. There's a big fear that they don't go to the good place. That's not true. They do go to the good place. They go through a healing process. Everybody that crosses over goes through a healing process. And what that healing process is, I have a pretty good educated guess, but I don't know for sure because I don't remember. Right? We don't remember. And that's the thing. We don't remember. We're not supposed to remember, because if we knew all that, we wouldn't be able to have the experiences that we have here on earth. So the main themes are they love you, they're with you, and they're doing great.
Thank you. And what about those people that for some reason had a tricky relationship? For example, let's say I have a tricky relationship with my father. There's lots of different things that went on in our lives, maybe certain even heavier topics, let's
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
And then he passes. And now here I am sitting for a mediumship reading, and dad comes through.
yeah.
Can you speak on that a little bit as well?
Sure.
Because I know there's people that may have
Right.
questions around that.
Right. Yeah. Those difficult relationships. So when that, if you have a so okay, we're talking about you have a difficult relationship with your dad. There's some not so good feelings from this life that happened between you and him. Okay. So he crosses over, he goes through that healing, and now he's coming in through a mediumship reading and probably is coming through with huge apologies, with asking for forgiveness, and you know, a very raw emotional I'm sorry. That is real, that is true, they are. The problem, or the thing that the medium has to deal with, is how best to relay that information to you, because we don't know if you're ready to hear that from them. Are you ready to forgive them? Are you ready to listen? Because it depends on where you're at, not where he's at. So so we do always tell, our sitters, if somebody comes through that you don't want to hear from, you have every right to say, I'm not ready to hear from them. So yes, do that. Here's the thing though, Spirit wants you to really forgive them. And yeah, and the thing is some people, it's not so easy to forgive as human beings, because we hurt. We have deep pain from these things. Personally, I'm looking forward to my mother crossing over and asking for my forgiveness. I'm sorry. I had to lighten the mood just a little bit. I'm sorry.
I love that.
I've forgiven her. I mean, you know what I mean, in this life. She's still alive so far. I do not wish ill will on my mother. I'm just looking forward to the time when she actually does. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? If you are not ready to hear from that person, don't go have a mediumship reading. But what you should do is take some time in trying to forgive. Now, that's a tricky thing. People think that for you to forgive them, you have to excuse them for their actions. We're not excusing them for their actions. We're forgiving them so that we can stop carrying the pain. That's all. So we can let go of the pain that they caused. Right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if they're in a place of unconditional love, they are able to reflect, upon their actions. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people want to know, they want justice, right?
That's a very human. Would you say that's a very human thing?
That's a very human thing.
Justice.
I want you to feel worse than you made me feel. I want you to know the pain you caused me. I have had several readings in this manner, and I can feel how that spirit who has done somebody wrong in this life, that apology is raw and deep. They know not only the pain, they are aware of the pain they caused you. Not only are they aware of the pain they caused you, they feel it. And in my belief system, 3 times worse than you did, because that's part of the healing process. Okay. And I don't know if you believe in karma or karmic, things, but when you cross over, you kind of do a life review, and you experience the happiness that you put on this earth, as well as the pain you caused on this earth. And that's kind of why we want to cause more good than bad, right? Because we're going to pay for it. But after we go through that, and after we have that healing process in spirit, then things are good. And we do everything we can. You know, I've had so many fathers come through and mothers come through that were not good parents. And they're saying, I'm a better parent to you now than I was on earth. I am working every day to make it up to you. And they truly are. They're right there with you. And some people resonate with that. And some people are like, you know, kind of like, I wonder what that, you know. But does that make sense?
1000%. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is you become aware of the intelligence of spirit, right? Because we are here in this little tiny human brain, unaware.
This little tiny person, yeah,
Tiny, like, and spirit's out here, you know,
everywhere,
perspective,
everywhere and nowhere.
Exactly. Everywhere and nowhere, and they're aware of all the different things going on. They bring in the synchronicities. They are able to arrange signs, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of stories. I have personal ones, but I'm sure even with your clients, you know, like the way they send little signs to them all the time, and like, all of that.
I saw that. I posted that meme where it says, when are you going to stop thinking it's a coincidence and realize that it's spirit talking to you?
Exactly. And because of us, like a lot of us just, oh no, it's just
we just walk around oblivious. Yeah, we are.
and spirit's like, hello, you know, we just, can you appreciate our handiwork?
They have a hard job, you know.
Exactly. What else was I going to ask you? So, okay, this is one of my last questions, I promise. I think it leads me to the trust thing. So when we become aware of the intelligence of spirit, and that we can totally depend on them to bring forward what our sitter or the person that is in front of you, you know, that we are giving a reading to. Can you speak a little bit on that and how that grows over time? Like from when you first started giving, whether it was in a circle or now professional readings, how does that trust grow over time? And why can you rely on that trust?
Well, because they prove over and over again that they're way smarter than we are. Okay. they know what's going to happen before it happens, right? They don't have time. They're everywhere. They're timeless. We're the only ones restricted by time. And it's so trusting them. How do we trust them? Well, it's by repeatedly, when giving a reading, when bringing through information, you get oh my gosh, there's an aha moment. Oh, okay, I get it now. Of they know what they're doing. Stop trying to control it. And that's a big thing for us human beings. We're scared of what's going to happen, right? So we try to control it. And so one of the things we need to work on is being right here, right now. Realize we can't control the future, and just trust that what's going to happen is going to happen, and we can't control it. Only thing we can control is our reaction to it. We can only control ourselves, how we respond to a situation. Maybe that isn't what you were asking, but you were talking about trust. How do you trust? It's really letting go of your own ego, of trying to control, and just know that spirit's going to be there and it's going to be okay. When you're aligned, you're aligned. Does that make sense? Did I answer the question that you wanted?
You did. You
Okay.
did. You did. You
All right.
really did. Okay, so my last question for you today is, if spirit had one message to get through from you to me, the listeners, whoever is going to watch this at some point, what do you think or feel they would want you to say?
Yes, spirit has a great sense of humor. I mean, you were probably looking for this profound "I love you."
No,
We know that.
no,
They do.
I really do.
They love you unconditionally. But you know, you don't need to be serious. Have fun. They do have a wonderful sense of humor. Okay? They do. They align with what your personality is. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I love that you said that, because that was one of the things that I really resonated with you right away, was how much humor you brought into your readings.
Yeah.
You'll be sitting there and you start cracking up and talking to spirit, and I'm like, what is this woman on? Whatever she got, I want to take, because
well, especially when you get somebody who has this really great sense of humor in life, how they were in life, they're that way there too, if it's a good thing, I don't know. But they tease me all the time. They're like, just say it. Just tell them Krusty the Clown,
Yeah, exactly. And here you are trying to like, is it the nose?
Are you sure? Here's this sweet little old lady wanting to talk to her dead husband. Sorry. And I'm going to bring her Krusty the Clown. I mean,
talk about
but I got
getting over your fear of embarrassment. Like, that's it. You just got to get through it.
I'm like, okay, here it comes. Krusty the Clown. I have many. That's just the funniest one I have. I've had many, many examples of if I had just said what I saw, what I felt, and what, spirit brought me.
Exactly. So, do they also work with your personality? Like, so spirit, there's so many mediums, and everyone has a different personality. So is that also something?
Absolutely. That's a good, thanks for bringing this up, because not every medium is going to bring in every spirit. Okay, because of our experiences. So spirit communicates their vocabulary. Your vocabulary is based on your own experiences. Okay, not always, but in general. If sometimes you just don't click. You know how some people, you just don't click with them. They're okay, but you're just like, I don't click with them, right? Same thing with a spirit person or entity, as somebody in spirit. You're not always going to click with them. So I've had some spirits, I'll see them and I'm like, you want to come talk to me? No. They just become quiet and stand back. And sometimes I'm like, would you understand? Sometimes that's telling me in life they didn't believe in this type of communication. And once I express that, then they'll come closer. You know what I'm saying? It's just evidence. But yeah, I'm not always going to be able, there's been quite a few times, not a lot, but a few times where I'm not able to bring somebody's loved one in because I just didn't understand what they were trying to tell me. And everything that I brought through, no matter how raw I gave the information, the person just didn't understand it. And so I had her go to a different, I'm just thinking of this one client that I had. And I said, I tell you what, I'm gonna, she paid me for the reading. And instead of giving her money back, because, we shouldn't be doing that. But I said, I tell you what, I want you to go have a reading by, a friend of mine. And you don't have to pay for it. So I pay my friend. And they're usually able, they're different. And I pick which medium I send them to based on that personality. I'm like, okay, I think she's going to click with this person. And so then they're like, oh yeah, I understand that. So that's what we need to remember.
Yeah. So it's that resonance thing, right?
Yeah.
Like when you feel like you're in resonance with someone, things flow very easily. There's a dynamic there. And then there's people when you're like, you don't know what to say. The conversation doesn't go anywhere. So,
well, and it's just like not everybody resonates with my style of teaching, my style of communication. Some people are put off by how direct I am. And that's okay. They're going to learn better from somebody else. There are many different wonderful teachers and mentors out there. You just have to find the one that works with you.
Exactly. Now that we're close to the end of, of this interview, can you give anyone interested in learning how to either book a reading or become a student or part of a development group? Can you give them where this information can be found? I'll also link it in the description below.
Right.
But
yeah,
please talk on that a little bit.
The best place is my website, which is www.christiemay.com. And so if you link it, you'll be able to spell it correctly because the spelling on that is different, Christie May. My business is called Spiritual Connections and Healing. You can also find me on Facebook. My business page is Spiritual Connections and Healing. I'm on Instagram, Christie May Medium. I'm also on YouTube. I do some guided meditations, and that's called Stars Soul Vibe. So on my website, and I do have a group on Facebook, and that's Spiritual Connection Circles, Chat, Practice, and Share. And that's a private group where we have a community of people that are wonderful. We have practice circles and conversations and all kinds of great stuff there too.
And I believe that's where I found you, in that group.
Yeah.
And then you put on a circle and I came and I remember I was so nervous.
I remember.
I would just sit there and never talk.
You just sat there and I called you out. I said, come on, Eleni, read. No. Yes. Yes. I don't care. Just say something.
It was so funny. And then your dad. Boop.
Yeah.
Tell her about me. He was the cutest. He's so helpful with mediumship. He
helps all my students. He just gets really, enjoys helping my students.
Yeah. And would he have enjoyed this if he was here?
No.
What do you think?
No. Because I talked to him about it before he passed, right? I said, I could talk to people who've crossed over, Dad, but I didn't use that word. I used the other word.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, okay. Now here's the thing though, which is weird because we had a mutual experience with his dad when his dad passed.
Oh, really?
When I was 16 years old, his dad passed and he came to visit us. All three of us, me, my mom, and my dad, had the same dream. And Grandpa, who had just passed the night before, had come and said, I'm okay. I love you. I'm with you. Everything's fine. Pretty much, there's little tiny differences, but it was all, he came to the house where we lived in Alaska at the time, and he lived in Washington State. He was in our house. All three of us saw him in our house and go to our bedroom. I thought it was a dream. Right? And the next morning, my dad goes, I had the craziest dream about my dad last night. And I went, I had a dream about grandpa too. Mom goes, I had a dream about grandpa too. And we all told our dream. People don't have the same dreams on the same night about the same person. That's not a coincidence.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, there you go. What could be like, oh, it's a coincidence. It's like, no.
So he believes that we do live after, but he didn't think I could like have a conversation with him. But that's okay. He knows now. And he's poking me right now, going,
And he's
stop
like,
it, Christy. Okay, you were right, Christy. Yes, I was right, Dad. Thank you.
and that's what I also love about you and how you deal with mediumship is like there's no division. It's not like they are somewhere. It's just a frequency separation.
Exactly. That's why you use that analogy of being a radio. Mediums are just a radio. We just have to find the right frequency to tune in. And then we become the speaker of that, of what's coming through. We just open our mouth and let them talk.
I love that analogy because it makes so much sense to me logically for my Virgo logical brain that loves to understand things, but also in my soul, like it resonates with a deep part of me.
Feels right, doesn't it?
It feels right. It feels like you just need to tune yourself. And that's part of the practice and the learning is just like, how do I get myself to tune?
Or we have to quiet down the logic and the ego. We have to quiet that down so we can tune in to the frequency of love.
Yes. And it's not reserved for a select few. Like everyone,
absolutely not.
Everyone can do this.
There's varying degrees.
Right. Like if I sat in front of a piano right now, it would be terrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't get 3 notes out.
Right.
But if I studied and if I gave myself the time to learn, maybe I could play 1 song or 2. Yeah. Eventually. Some people are just masters at it.
Some people are just born to play the piano, right? And it's just beautiful. And they can hear something and repeat it on the piano like they're one with it. Yeah. So it's the same thing.
There's varying degrees of ability.
Varying degrees of how, but I know a gal who remembers no experiences with spirit as a child, but she wanted to learn how to do mediumship so badly. She did. And she does beautiful. So, yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. All right. Thank you, Christy. You're the best. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
I'll link all the information for Christy below. And thank you everyone for watching. Share, like, subscribe, do whatever people do here. Really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.